This is the 141 assault rifle class setup. You guys can copy it. It's up to you. I used the Ether Shroud field upgrade. I used the Molotov, the decoy grenades. I would highly recommend using Hidden Power, Shield Up, Free Fire, Cashback, and On the House, but the rest is yours. To start this Easter egg, you need to punch this Mop Bucket under the sprinkler. So when we get to this step, it will be full with water. So the next step is to turn on the Pack-a-Punch room. Just follow the orange objective to the Pack-a-Punch. Then you shoot the crystals. They are different spawns every game, but you will see the purple lighty crystals. Just shoot them with your gun. As you clear them all, the Pack-a-Punch would now be available. In these locations, we need to find these Klaus legs, and they're mostly found in the Tower 2, the Android assembly. One leg can be found on top of these boxes right here in the center. One can be found in the corner over here next to this kind of box area. Then another one can be found in this little doorway looking area, and one more can be found at this shelf. If there's any I missed, please comment below. And make sure to pick up a key card, which I think it's after round 6 or 10. I could be wrong. All right, now we need to find a staticky computer screen next to Deadshot Daiquiri, and a word is going to show up on the screen. Whatever your first letter of that word is, you need to write that down. Mine, for example, was P, and the second word is shown on another monitor in the other room, which is in the mutant research test area. Another word will be shown on that monitor also. That first letter of that word, and write it down, which mine was A. So I have PA. In the same exact room, go into the periodic table of elements, and I'm going to find the two letters, which is PA, which I took my first letter of each word from both my words. So we got PA. So if you look next to those letters on this board, it will give you a specific number, which we have two numbers, which we need 3. So make sure to put a 0 behind it. So now we need to head upstairs, take those numbers that we got, and make sure 0 is first, then put your other 2 digits numbers from that screen onto the dial, and it will open this door. Once you enter this room, you're going to see this type of chemical inside of this machine. What you need to do is take 3 vermins and 3 zombies, and then pretty much eliminate them in front of this machine until they get sucked into this machine. So after you're done, you can actually pick up the chemical, and you're going to bring it to this location over here next to Melee Macchiato, which is called the Quantum Computing Lab. There's going to be different mushrooms around this location, which we need to go around and stand next to them. And it's going to pull out that chemical that we got from that machine, which if you know you're doing it right, it's going to have it pulled out. Then you're going to have a little meter on your left center screen on the left hand side, which just says Etheric Flora Health. Once that is completely done, that means you have done that step right, which we need to do this 2 more times, which a total of 3 times. So just go to around this room, just go to each mushroom, suck that toxic gas into your chemical thing you're holding in your hand. And once you have completed all 3 mushrooms, you're not done with this step. We need to head to a Tower 2, the Dark Entity Containment, which we're going to find these different computers around this room, which is going to say Initiate Power Surge. Once you activate one computer, you need to activate the next ones. If you don't do it fast enough, you will have to wait till next round. So make sure you activate all 4 of these computers simultaneously. Once you've done it right, you're going to see this scorching electricity coming out of the ground from the wires and the walls, and it's going to come into the Forsaken inside of the middle that's trapped inside of this cage, which you're going to have this giant boss that comes in a mech. You need to damage the 2 shoulder plates that are shown on the boss. You need to shoot the left side and the right side, and once they're completely destroyed, you need to take it to the plate onto this area right here in front of the Forsaken. And once the boss has stood there for a second, it's going to, your screen will turn right, and he will turn into a absolute beast, which you need to take down. Once the boss has been taken down, I recommend a legendary weapon and a Pack-a-Punch 1 because this guy can be very beefy. Once he is taken down, there is a part 2 to this. It would be like a mini Klaus that you also need to take down, but he's much weaker. It will take only a couple seconds. You'll see this kind of orb of electric, and you need to interact with it, and that toxic thing that we used earlier will be put into that. Then it would turn into a Wonder Weapon. weapon, which is the Gorfx. So we already have the 2 legs. Now we need the 2 arms, which the 2 arms can only be obtained through the special round of the Klaus bosses, the explodey dudes. In my game, I got them on round 5 and round 12. So you need to wait to a specific round to shoot the robots and will eventually drop the arm, which you need 2 of them. And once you have 2 of them, you take all the parts to the Klaus robot, which would be at this location right here. Once the Uber Klaus spawns in on a certain round, you need to bring him to that Klaus robot and make him shoot that area. And then once he is shot, Klaus himself will start playing on the little computers, which we will come back to this step later on. Now time for the upgrade for the Gorfx. We need to go to John Blanchard's room, which is located on the Tower 1 executive suit. Interact with the door and he will kind of talk to you through the little window through the door. And that's when you know the first step of the wonder weapon is, we can move on to the next one. Now head back to spawn and the doorway next to the tier 2 armor, you're going to see this giant button. Press it. Now head back into the middle of the room. Klaus will now spawn in and you need to defend him while he's working on the computer. Once that is complete, we now can look at the elevator shaft, which is completely shut down now. It is completely red, which means we need to head into the Tower 1 quantum computing core. Then we're going to head down this elevator shaft, which we need to parachute. Once we're falling down, we're going to look directly down and look at the red glowing devices. We need to disable these devices. Make sure to interact with them once you fly by them. And once you've done that, the elevator will now be accessible. Well, it will lift you back out of that elevator room. Now, these electricity balls will spawn in and they will go to different directions of the room, which these electric zombies will spawn in, which you need to eliminate them with your Gorfx wonder weapon. Once that's been done correctly, Panos will spawn in. Basically, he will glitch out like crazy, which last time we actually seen him was from Liberty Falls, which that's kind of crazy how we're just now seeing him in the final map, which is crazy. After he's done glitching out, you interact with him, and once you've done that, he's gonna suck himself into the wonder weapon and your wonder weapon will now be upgraded. Yeah, I'm not joking. It's now upgraded. All right, the next Easter egg steps. Head back into Tower 1, the mutant research lab. You're gonna see this computer next to this weird device. You're gonna interact with it and pick up the syringe. And basically, head into the pack punch room and you're gonna wait till 0 gravity. Jump onto this platform and you're going to jump onto this laser beam. And once you've done that, you're gonna turn into a lightning bolt. And you're gonna see this zombie suddenly there floating in 0 gravity. And once that has happened, you need to fly through it. Basically, once you've done that, the body will now be on the ground, which you can interact with the body, and the blood sample will now be in the syringe. Head back into the same room that we got the syringe from. Once you insert that syringe back where it came from, the mangler inside of that tube will burst out of that tube, which you need to fight him. And once you've taken him down, you need to pick up the mutant injection off the ground. Go into the dark entity containment room and you're going to see this keypad, which you need to activate it, then press on your mutant injection at the same time as you do it, and it's going to scan you. Then the door will open into a teleporter. Now head back into the android assembly. We need to escort Klaus. As you escort him, you're going to reach the dark entity containment and you're going to see the SAM trial. You must purchase the SAM trial. Then Klaus will go on the SAM trial, type on the little computer on it, and then basically it's going to give you a basic challenge. You just need to complete it. It's that easy. Once you complete the SAM trial, you can actually retrieve those rewards. Now head back into that secret teleporter that we opened in the containment room. And now Klaus wants a brain. We need to head back into the Tower 1 quantum computing core and we need to punch this Project Janus box and it will have a brain inside of it. Take that brain out. And then you need to take that brain into the same room that Klaus is in right now and put it in that box. We needed to head into the director's office and we're going to see multiple SAM files around these locations. Basically, we need to write down the 3 and the object, what it says, and then the archived and the date, month, and year. Write that all down. One location can be found on the white table. Another file can be located underneath the TV next to the nightlight. Another file can be found at this desk right outside that room in the hallway. And the final code will be in the teleportation lab. Once you have all your numbers written down, you basically take the first month and basically go to least to highest. And that's the order of numbers that you would get. Go into the pack-a-punch room and activate this red button. You're basically going to get as much kills as possible inside of this room with your wonder weapon. If you're doing it right, it's going to act like a soul feeder. But there is vermins in here that are highlighted in blue that has that same look as Liberty Falls. So make sure to dominate everything in your path. And once you've done it correctly, you'll see the light white orb next to the red button. And once you have picked up the white orb, it's going to be inside of your gun. So you need to teleport to back to where he was in the teleporter room, and you're going to shoot and do a charge shot at the teleporter, and it's going to line up all the zombie heads on there, which we done it correctly. Head back into the quantum computing core, and you're going to sit next to the Tonto and use your wonder weapon and shoot a charge shot at this specific area right here, and it will drop a head that we need to pick up. Then we need to take this head and bring it back to spawn the Mop Bucket is, and put your head inside of that, and then take it back out. And once you have this, you're going to have to get kills. You're going to have this dark ether storm chasing you while you're feeding souls into the head, basically. If you get in a sticky situation, you can actually drop the head off the ground. If you get in a tight area, you can pick it back up and get more kills with a soul eater. And once you're done, you're going to go back into the teleporter room and place that head inside of the teleporter. And now you're going to see these vacuum canisters by Project Janus, and it's going to have the vacuum seal device, which we need to take this device and throw it at props that are glowing purple and floating. And if you don't catch them, if you get too close to them, they will stun you and pretty much basically move away. There is different locations of these canisters, which can be found in the Dark Entity Containment, the Android Assembly, the Mutant Research Test Area, the Spawn Room, and lots of different areas. And once you collected all 4 of these around the map, place all 4 vacuum seal devices inside of this canister in the teleporter room. And now it's time for a lockdown. As you circle around this room, and honestly, all you have to do is when these levers light up red, you just interact with them and basically repeat that, run around the room until it's complete. Now it's time to get Pack-a-Punch 3 and get all of your perks. Interact with the portal to go into the boss fight. So once we get to this platform area, you're going to actually have the option to go into Richtofen or Sam, which we're going to fight Sam because this is going to be the standard boss fight, because Richtofen, I don't want to talk about that. Basically, this is going to be very easy. The lift is going to stop at different levels of the facility or the tower, and basically you need to go to each soul eaters and just feed zombies with your weapons. Go to each one. When it's complete, you'll be told to go back on the lift. And once you're on the next floor, it's pretty much the same floor as before, but you need to run around and shoot crystals. And once you shot all the crystals, you'd be on to go back onto the main floor. Then you're on to the boss fight. All right, my experience with this boss fight is very interesting, and it was quite difficult if you don't know what the hell you're doing. So basically, once you get in here, she can beam you, do these weird attacks. She can spin in the air. She can lift you up in the air into like 20 feet in the air. It's ridiculous. And she can do attacks where she's shooting behind you with, I don't know what the hell it is, but she can almost one tap you half your health. You gotta make sure you're always moving. She can do this very large red beam. And once she has an open gate to actually do damage, you're gonna shoot the red little lasers on her when she sits still, so you can do as much damage as possible. And once she's spinning, you can actually do damage also. But sometimes when she's doing the red beam, you can also do damage also, but it's like you can't really tell the difference when you can do damage and when you can't. So basically, I just shot randomly and see if I can actually do damage or not. But the mechanic is pretty easy to learn because it just repeats itself, but every phase has some added new differently, so you gotta watch for that. So basically, if you just keep moving and just stay behind objects, you should be fine this whole fight. It's really not that hard. But I did bring in a minigun to melt the weak points, which it melted her health pretty quickly here. There is parts of the boss where you kind of just, you can do a SAM trial to do a certain challenge, and it can give you like free perks and everything. But if you don't complete it, it depends on the rarity you do. So basically, you just repeat damage, repeat the mechanics, make sure you dodge them, and you will eventually defeat Sam. And basically, I'm not going to show the cutscene because I want you guys to experience that for yourself if you haven't seen it. So that has been the video. Peace.